everybody, and welcome to another episode of Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet where Stanley, he's a god. He's just straight up god. I'm your host, Chad.
I'm your host, Rob, and today is our final episode in our Avengers-themed week extravaganza palooza, other words that describe this week.
For sure. Yeah, so what are we doing? Oh,
I guess that needs to be said. Today we will be reviewing the Avengers vs. X-Men crossover comic. We have up to book 3 or fight 3 or whatever they call it, also including like the prologue. So I guess like four issues we've read so far. So we got a general like history of, you know, what's going on, and we wanted to save this for this week. To stay in theme.
So, as always, follow us on Twitter at Epic Geek Out. You can also check out our Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. Or email. I think you're going to go with the email.
I was going to go with the email, but then I said
go with the email. Go with the email.
Fans at epicgeekout.com. Email us any questions, suggestions, comments, whatever you got.
Whatever you got. And then, like he was saying, you can check us out on Facebook, like our page, please. But again, the biggest thing you can do for us is subscribe to our YouTube channel. So please do that. But let's get into our review of Avengers vs. X-Men.
So today we're reviewing a new comic book event that has come out from Marvel, obviously the Avengers. Avengers vs. X-Men. It's being written by a number of people: Jason Aaron, Brian Michael Bendis, or a couple of the two
and
big
others.
Ones, and
Check
others.
Behind us.
And they do this kind of every summer. They have a big event. A couple years ago, the Civil War thing. As you know, we are comic novices, so to speak. So this is kind of our first take at...
Amateurs, if you will.
Yeah, this is our first take at reviewing a legitimate comic series. This is the first series that I've kept up with as a whole, trying to stay with. So basically, the long and short of the story is the X-Men have a new mutant messiah, so to speak, called Hope Summers. Cyclops' daughter, right? And the Phoenix Force that we all know from the movies and the comics in the past that took over Jean Grey is coming to Earth to possess her or whatever it does, you know. And so the Avengers are trying to stop this because it means the end of mankind, but the mutants are trying to protect her because this is their, you know, one and only savior, so to speak, of the mutant race. So the conflict there happens, and then they have the epic battle of the comic. So, do you want to take it from here? What
yeah,
did
I'll
you
take
think
it. So, with us trying to get into comics, I've been reading more like past comics and in like the hardbound form where it has, you know, a whole series, a whole collection. This is the first comic where I've had to visit a comic book store multiple times just to pick up that flimsy little $4 issue, and just to keep up with it. And a really cool thing that they're also doing with an iPad, if you have the Marvel app, you can get extra features, extra whole new portions of a comic on there, and it's kind of a cross-digital platform to make you still...
And a digital copy of the
And
book.
a digital copy, so you can bring that with you. So I think that's really cool, really neat idea. It has to be touched on. I like where that's going, because I don't like just having a digital copy of a book. I like still having these little... you know, just it's cool. It's a collecting kind of thing. So we're three series, or I don't know, issues. Yeah, that's a good word for it. And the conflict it's getting built up.
Right.
I'm excited to read the next. You know, each little bit I think would probably be like 10 minutes of a movie. So it's hard for me to get into the like only reading that little bit and only getting more for every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's not saying anything about this comic. Really. It's just saying something about how we're receiving it, and it's been kind of off for me receiving that way.
That's interesting because it doesn't give you really enough time to, like, you're getting so excited and then it's done, you know? Like, it's such a weird...
Like, the third one I read, I'm like, there's no more pages?
Yeah, I know.
Like, nothing really happened. Like, this happened. So, it's cool. Again, I think being novices, it's hard to break into this whole comic book world. There is so much backstory for this even that you can pick it up and you can understand, but there's stuff going on from the Civil War from the, you know, the Registry Act, stuff like that I don't get because I didn't read that. So it's such a hard medium to break into. And, you know, this is a comment not on the book again, but like going into a comic book store, which I've done now a couple times, it's overwhelming. Like I went today. It's a Sunday for the store still did a free comic book day today too, and there's everything's on sale. I'm like, oh, I want to buy stuff, but
what do I buy?
do I buy? What do I buy to stay informed and stuff like that? So I think that's just a critique of the medium as a whole. But with this, I'm enjoying it. It's throwing a crap ton of characters at you.
A lot
so
that I don't
far.
even know,
There's
like,
a ton.
It's crazy.
They do the little opening. They give you a little who's going to be on what. There's a ton of X-Men I don't know. There's a ton of Avengers I don't know. A lot of the speaking roles has gone to Captain America, Iron Man, Cyclops, Wolverine,
the normals, the big
Storm,
ones.
Emma Frost. And then Hope Summers, Hope Messiah. That's kind of lame, but whatever. So it's good. It's really interesting. I love the art. I love the fact that I'm getting into this and its characters now. The Avengers, like I said in my earlier review of the movie, is a newer passion with the movies. X-Men is a passion from a kid watching the cartoon, owning the figures. So it's cool to see these guys facing each other. I'm interested to see how long it goes for and how
I think it's 12 issues.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how it gets resolved.
But that's the thing is, like, at the end of each book, they have, like, 7 to 10 other series going on concurrently that have elements of this story. So, like, that's part of what you were saying with how hard it is to get into. It's not just this run of
and like
books.
I said, this isn't a critique of that.
Right,
I would
no.
hate
Well,
that
it's
be to be
definitely,
perceived
I'm going to agree
of
with you on the accessibility of the medium, because it's not only this series of 12 issues or whatever of Avengers vs. X-Men, but there's all these other series going on concurrently that have elements that
and maybe
cross over.
that's a problem of
and
comics
like,
to get people
where do you
interested.
start? Because there's
right?
so much to read and just catch up to the point that you're at.
Exactly.
So it's definitely, and I've looked on a lot of different sites and I haven't found one good, like,
where if you pick up something new, like I picked up Preacher, I picked up Invincible,
right.
I can start that from the beginning and I have a bunch of crap to read
like
through,
these,
or Walking Dead, or stuff like this.
Iconic characters,
there's
like
so
Marvel
much to go
DC,
on.
There's been so many different iterations of them.
Universes, the Ultimates,
it's crazy. But as far as this series goes, I agree with everything you said. I love the art. I love the superheroes. I think this is a great way to get us into it because it has all those characters in it. So it's people that we're familiar with, but also other ones. It just makes me want to get into comics more and know what's going on in every different series that's going on. But it's tough because there's so many going on. You'd spend like $60 a week on just getting.
And how do you read?
Yeah.
I mean, you're backlogging so much stuff.
Exactly.
It's like.
But the story is interesting. It's not too difficult to follow. Basically, I'm sure there's a lot of backstory to the different mutants.
But that is also because we know who the
Avengers.
Phoenix is. I think if you didn't know who the Phoenix is, I think you'd be screwed. I mean, we have knowledge from other mediums pulling in through that, not necessarily reading comics, but knowing the characters from film, cartoons, stuff like that. So I think if you didn't know who the Phoenix was at all, you'd be lost.
Yeah.
Why'd they care?
Like, I don't know why this is gonna. We sound so discredited, but I don't even know why Magneto's with the X-Men.
It's
like
from
crazy.
the Civil War and from that stuff like
just
that.
crazy.
Exactly.
Like, I want to know now. I'm like, oh, I gotta know what's going on. But as this arc of story, it's just basically the Phoenix. You kind of know what the good and bad are. You know the motives a little bit. So it's pretty cool. I mean, the battles are neat. Just seeing that all happen on the page is really cool. I'll agree that it is kind of a little tease because every issue is very condensed.
Minuscule.
Yeah, and it's just, but it's cool because this is what comics are. And
who do you want to win?
Avengers, because Cyclops is just being a dick, and it kind of
protecting his daughter. I'm going
yeah.
for the X-Men. I like the underdog. I mean, from the other storylines, I mean, mutants were kind of wiped out.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, Cyclops is showing a different side than before. But
But he just kind of started the whole thing. I mean,
he did.
I don't want to spoil it, but
he did.
I mean, but overall,
like Utopia. I never heard of Utopia. Their little island.
I know.
Before.
We gotta catch up for sure. So if you guys have any recommendations for how we can, the easiest way to do it, because there's been a couple sites where I've checked out that says, where to start, but they give you like the basic things, and I don't think it'd be that's like
we don't need the basics. We need the intermediate. I think
we need to here's what happened previously on
Cliff
Iron
Notes.
Man. Here's what happened previously on X-Men. You know what I mean? Like we need that to get caught up to the current storyline.
But it's worth it to pick it up.
Yeah,
$4 an issue every 2 weeks.
Obviously, we don't know a lot about what's going on previously. But I don't feel confused with the comic. I can pick up. There's minor things which I'm sure would.
There also isn't too much things to get confused about.
No, right.
it's that little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, but there's a lot of characters.
Oh
like I
my
said,
God.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this Sunspot
They did
guy?
this really cool thing. Yeah.
He looks cool though.
Yeah, I saw that. How when they fight, like, the Prince of the Sea,
the most expensive punch in history.
An impenetrable guy from Harlem. I love that. I thought those were really well written.
I think that was
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool how they like
basically
gave those little bars.
There's like a little blurb for each little battle that's going on in a panel. Might be, I mean, the one we just referenced is Emma Frost and Iron Man. It says something
Turns
like
to diamonds, punches him.
Hardest diamond in the world punches the
multi-billion dollars. Yeah,
most expensive punch in history. And it's just little quips like that throughout that are really interesting.
So it's a process. If you're looking to get into comics, this might be a good place to start. Go to your local comic book store and strike up a conversation and ask questions. That's what we've been doing. That's what I'd recommend to you. But I'd say definitely go check it out if you're interested in these characters.
Yeah, and look for more comic book talks
in the
from us
future.
soon.
And that concludes another episode, our final episode of the Avengers Extravaganza.
I'm sad.
But this was a week, the biggest week we've had so far to be thankful for. So Chad, give your thanks to culminate the very core. No pressure. This is the biggest thanks since Epic Geek Out has been formed. Give it.
Wow.
Are you thankful for Pogs today?
I'm changing my thanks because I just got caught off guard. But I'm just going to thank, in general, the summer blockbuster movie, tentpole movies, because...
Especially this year?
Holy
this
shit.
year. This year. My God.
Growing up, I played a couple sports. I wasn't a sports guy. I was in the band. I was a geek. It's such a good time to be into this because it's become to the point... And I hope that it's like this for the younger generation right now, the people in high school and middle school right now. But as far as our generation goes right now, it's cool to be a geek. You are looked on as you have the pop culture, you're savvy in that, and it's really just, it's almost praised at this point, and it's awesome. And I love being a part. I love what's going on right now with the superhero movies, and they're making money, and that's even better because that means they're just going to
they're making money.
They're just going to keep making them, and it's just so exciting to see all these things that you grew up with becoming realized in different ways, whether it be through comic book things like Avengers vs. X-Men, or movies like the Avengers, other movies coming out this summer, Dark Knight Rises. It's just amazing that we're getting true cinema that is geeky. So I'm thankful for the summer blockbuster, awesome movies. So I guess it's more just general than just that, but geek summer.
Yeah, the movies this year are really to write home about. I mean, I'm looking forward to them. I mean, there's so many to list to rattle off besides even the big ones. Just movies I'm looking forward to. So sticking with the movie theme, I am thankful for cameos in movies. It might be a weird little thanks, but with Marvel movies, I always look forward to Stan Lee's cameo at the end of X-Men, at the end of Avengers, he does his cameo. Fantastic Four when he's trying to get in the wedding, Iron Man when he's mistaken for Hugh Hefner, or just in general, they were able to build a character and set up Hawkeye with a little cameo in Thor, or just even other movies when a star will cameo in. I think it provides a great amount of laughs for a little piece of time, and I just love that. I love when they just bring other things together in a movie.
I love, especially with Stan Lee, feeling like you're on an inside joke, that you know who that is, and other people might
not
know.
You know the people in the theater who know who it is, because they're like, ha ha.
But that's great, because it's like, oh, I'm in on this little joke. It provides an Easter egg to the movie, really. But,
exactly. It's an Easter egg for the fans, and I think that's, it's great when they can do that. And just in general, I've always enjoyed it when there's just that random part of a movie you're like, oh crap, that's funny.
That's that guy.
So really enjoy that, specifically the Stan Lee cameos, because that means I'm watching a superhero movie, which I enjoy. So
for sure.
That's it. That's the end of our first wearing shirts for our week of programming. I'm hoping this was a great week through all different things. Free Comic Book Day. May the 4th be with you. It was a geeky week, to say the least. So I'm hoping we have more weeks like this, because I like shirts. I love t-shirts. And I'm looking for an excuse to buy some more. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it.